What do you think would have happened if the UN hadn't stepped in?
The UN didn't step in. They didn't do anything.
They tried something and didn't work.
I mean, how could they step in? They didn't have an army they could put in to maintain the peace. This problem was submitted to the UN, which is a brand new organization, by the way. The member states declared their opinion in the form of a resolution. That's all a General Assembly resolution is.
God, that has to be the last time a UN vote concerning Israel was good for the Jews.
Well, that's why Israel doesn't respect the UN as a body. They realize the UN is kind of like, popularity contest in high school. It's like in high school when you run for student body president. The popular kid wins.
Right.
The geeky guy who's all talented will never win, right? And no one, it's a popularity contest. So in the UN, everyone's voting against Israel, blaming Israel. It doesn't change the fact that on the very first substantive thing the UN tried to do, which was the partition of Palestine, they failed. And they failed, and Israel paid the price. The UN resolution didn't hold, and Israel was attacked, and 1% of the population was killed in that war. I mean, think of it. Imagine if we lost 3 million Americans in a war, 1% of the population.
Yeah.
Not just soldiers, men, women, children, okay? On the road to Jerusalem, as the Jews had an enclave in Jerusalem, in East Jerusalem, the Hadassah Hospital up there, and it was cut off from the rest of Israel. And it was besieged by the Jordanians. And the Zionists kept trying to get medics up there and to supply them with food. And like on this road up to Jerusalem, like 1,000 people were killed. Just slaughtered. The best book on the subject's O Jerusalem, which is an indispensable read by journalists who were there on the ground witnessing the whole thing. So my point here is Israel paid a hell of a high price. And when this war ended, they were in control of West Jerusalem, but not East. The Jordanians controlled the East, which is the old city of David. What did the Jordanians do? They came in, they threw out all the Jews, that's what we'll call ethnic cleansing, destroyed the synagogues, destroyed the cemeteries, and prohibited Jews from visiting the Temple Mount or praying in Jerusalem for as long as they held this territory.
Because they were ticked off.
Because they're assholes. And so, and don't forget, Jordan
I don't
was
understand
Palestine.
these diplomatic terms.
So the Israelis, okay, now you got a generation of Israelis, they're sitting there looking at Jerusalem, and they're dreaming one day we're going to have our city back. In 1967, Israel captured Jerusalem from Jordan and drove Jordan out of what we call Judea and Samaria, which is known as the West Bank, okay? From the perspective of the left-wing Zionists, their perspective is, we paid a really high price for these territories and we need this land for our security. From the perspective of the right-wing and religious Zionists, they're saying, this is Zion. Right. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and what you call the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, is the heartland of Israel. This has been our country for time immemorial. We never said it's not. We always said we're going to come back. We always maintained our claim to it. Now we are back. We paid a high price for it. No one can tell us what's ours and what's not. The Arabs have no claim to this. They're all newbies. They just got here a short while ago anyway. There's hardly any of them to begin with. And most of them came from other places. That's, another thing that's kind of lost to history. And here we are. We're back. It's ours. We're not going anywhere.